Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is currently retesting and bouncing from this key Fibonacci level as we've just wiped out a bunch of liquidity towards the downside, but now the price of Bitcoin has already wiped that out and is moving towards this liquidity towards the upside. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment alongside my exact Bitcoin trading strategy and how exactly I plan to profit from the next Bitcoin move alongside the price of Ethereum, which is now moving closer towards this key Fibonacci area, while the price of XRP has just officially confirmed this significant breakout. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, if we're taking a look at the CPI inflation rate, because over the last one day, we actually got some new CPI inflation numbers, and basically the expectation was 2.4%, but it actually came in at 2.3%, so slightly below expectations, which is good news in the case of the CPI inflation rate. And so this is potentially one of the reasons as to why we're seeing a bit of a bounce in the short term in the crypto market, because if inflation is dropping faster than is expected, as we can see right here, that means potential rate cuts from the Federal Reserve may come sooner than expected, and higher interest rates may end sooner than expected. And basically all you need to know is higher interest rates are bearish for the economy, bearish for markets. Lower interest rates means more stimulus, basically more liquidity flooding markets, which is of course bullish. And so once again, with this inflation number dropping slightly more than what was expected, once again, this is at least a bullish signal in the short term for really most markets, the stock market, the crypto market, etc. And with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, here on the 4-day time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, so not much has changed over the last one day on this chart. We're still looking bullish. If we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously right now we're about to break out above the previous highs in the weekly candle closes here. We're getting extremely close to forming a new higher high in the weekly candle closes. And so as I've said recently here on the channel, that would invalidate this bearish divergence, at least temporarily, with a new higher high in the price, because in that situation would have to confirm a new bearish divergence with a new higher high in the price, and of course lower highs still currently forming in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. But ideally, in order to completely invalidate the bearish divergence altogether on the weekly time frame, we ideally need to see a breakout in the RSI above this previous high to form a higher high in the RSI alongside a higher high in the price, because in that situation of course there's no divergence. But with that being said, taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now we are starting to show a lot of bullish momentum with this new bullish crossover that is already starting to play out in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And obviously I've been talking about exactly this happening pretty much every day over the last 1 month now on the channel, since much lower prices. I've been saying we're already seeing declining bearish momentum moving closer towards a bullish crossover, telling us we're already in the recovery out of this correction here, and we're likely going to see much more bullish momentum. And once again, I've been saying that for the last 1 month, for over a month now on the channel, and is already starting to perfectly play out here. And of course, based on these two previous bullish crossovers in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, it was after those crossovers we saw even more bullish price action than what we had already seen leading up to the crossover. So what we've already seen up to now is potentially just a small amount of bullish price action compared to what might be coming next in the next few weeks or months, at least based on these previous signals here. So right now, of course, the momentum is clearly looking bullish for the price of Bitcoin on the larger timeframes here. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, of course, right now we're just simply continuing towards all-time highs, which is what I've been saying we're likely going to do ever since we broke out above this resistance. Obviously, once we saw that breakout above around 96 to 98,000, that was really the final significant area of resistance between the price and all-time highs. So once we broke that level, obviously we're now quickly heading up towards all-time highs, and now we could find some short-term resistance around these previous highs, like for example at around 106,000 and potentially around 108 to 109,000. Expect maybe some short-term resistance around there, but not necessarily as significant as some of these previous areas of resistance that we've already broken. And so not much has changed on this chart. Once again, I'm still very bullish on the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this daily time frame, of course, over the last few days, we saw that short-term pullback and now a perfect retest of this previous Fibonacci level of resistance, which is now flipping into new support, which is bullish price structure. Anytime we break out above resistance, flip it into new support, obviously that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. And so right now, expect a lot of support at give or take 102,000. And if we were to make it all the way back down towards around 98,000, expect a lot of support around there as well. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last couple of days, we have seen a bit of a short-term cool-off exactly as predicted here on the channel. But obviously this has helped to reset the RSI a little bit on the daily time frame, but we're still sitting pretty much in overbought territories, on the edge of overbought here in the daily Bitcoin RSI. So ideally, it would actually be even better for the price of Bitcoin if we see a little bit more of a cool off in order to reset the RSI a little further to actually give us more room towards the upside later on. But of course, we have to be aware of the fact that the momentum is clearly on the bullish side. As I've been saying once again for a long time now on the channel, this weekly Bitcoin MACD has been telling us we're looking bullish based on the momentum that we're seeing. And so once again, as I've said many times recently here on the channel, yes, we can see short-term cool-offs, short-term pullbacks and things like that from time to time to reset some of these price oscillators like the RSI, but overall the trend and momentum is simply bullish right now. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last few days, for around 2 to 3 days or so, this short-term bearish divergence just on the 2-hour time frame perfectly played out exactly as predicted. Obviously, since all the way back here, I said we're most likely going to see maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action and then a bit of a pullback. And of course, we've seen exactly that play out as predicted. But I want to make this clear right now, I do not expect this bearish divergence to play out any longer because it's only on the 2-hour time frame. Usually a signal or a pattern on the 2-hour time frame only plays out over a couple of days or so before it basically loses relevance. And that's already perfectly played out for a few days. So once again, I would not rely on this bearish divergence any longer, considering it's only on the 2-hour chart. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously just over the last one day, we perfectly took out that liquidity towards the downside, as I warned about in my last video and recently here on the channel since before we saw that happen. And of course, that liquidity was sitting at around 103,000 and also at around 102,000. So we wiped out a bunch of over leveraged long positions that entered near the highs. And now that we've done that, of course, we basically used up most of the liquidity that was below the price of Bitcoin. We don't really have a lot that is currently below the price of Bitcoin, at least in the short term here. But we do have a lot of liquidity starting to build at around 106,000, which is now the next target. Because in case you're new to the channel, basically the price of Bitcoin almost always, never a guarantee, never 100%, but almost always moves towards where there's a lot of liquidity, at least if the liquidity is relatively close to the price. And so now that we've already wiped out that downside liquidity, of course, the momentum is building back in the bullish direction, and we have this major liquidity just above the price at around 106,000. So once again, it's never a 100% guarantee, but it is extremely likely that very soon the price of Bitcoin will come back up towards 106,000 to take out that liquidity. And so with all of that being said, what is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy? And well, right now I'm still simply long on the price of Bitcoin. I've been putting my money where my mouth is this entire time for weeks now on the channel when I've been saying bullish, bullish, bullish. Of course, I've been long on the price of Bitcoin as I've been sharing very transparently every day here on the channel for weeks now. But of course, just around 2 days ago now, I did take a small amount of profits, just slightly reducing the size of this long position around these highs, because obviously around 2 days ago, I said it's extremely likely we're going to see a slight little pullback in the short term coming soon. And obviously that perfectly played out as predicted, but overall, I am still bullish on the trend and the larger momentum that we're seeing, which is why I'm still overall long on the price of Bitcoin. And so basically my trading strategy here is to just remain long on the price of Bitcoin. And as the trade moves further and further into profits, I'll slowly move this stop loss further and further into profits as time goes on. And also if we see potential short-term warning signals, like a bit of a bearish divergence playing out in the short term, or maybe running into key resistance and things like that, I may just slightly reduce the size of the trade to take a small amount of profits out of the long position. And being fully transparent with this trade, if we're actually looking at the current trade right here, basically the current unrealized profit is sitting at around 9,000 USDT and the realized profit is sitting at around 3,700 USDT. So overall, well over 12,000 USD in profits in just a couple of weeks with this one small long position. And so that is my exact trading strategy, showing very transparently here on the channel exactly how I'm making a bunch of profits in the crypto market. And if you want to take these trades for yourself to profit in the crypto market, obviously you have to be set up on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 you can actually claim onto your account. But once again, obviously you have to be one of these larger traders here. But if you're not one of these larger traders, you can also claim a $30 sign up bonus only using that link and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, that first or second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to 35,000 in USDT, and also some huge deposit bonuses here. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus onto your BTNex account, but only if you use that link. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing for the next trading opportunity, once again, get set up ready to go on one of these crypto exchanges using those links if you want to claim these massive bonuses. And in case you're wondering, BTNex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and obviously right now the price of ETH is continuing that very significant bounce from this very significant area of support, which is still sitting in between around 1.4k to 1550. And we've also already broken out above a key level on the price chart, which was previous significant support and also previous significant resistance right here, and that was sitting at approximately 2.3k. So obviously this is bullish price structure now finally starting to form on the weekly time frame again. And the next major point of resistance on this weekly time frame, the next major price target to watch out for, is this previous significant line of support right here, which could potentially act as major resistance, and that's sitting at roughly around 2.9k, so just under 3,000. And if we're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price chart, over the last couple of days we saw pretty much a perfect retest of this previous 50% retracement level, which is sitting at just below 2.4k, so around 2380 to around 2.4k. Expect support around there, and if we were to actually break below that level, expect a lot of support at around 2.1k if we were to actually get there. But for now, obviously the momentum is still bullish for the price of ETH, especially if Bitcoin is still looking bullish. And the next major point of resistance to watch out for on this daily Ethereum price chart is of course the golden pocket area of resistance, which was also significant resistance back here during February, and that's sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And so obviously expect the price to struggle around that area on the price chart, but if we can finally see a confirmed breakout above 2.8k, and especially back above this line right here close to 2.9k, in that situation expect a continued bullish move up towards around 3250, so in between around 3.2k to 3.3k as the next major price target beyond around 2.8k. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour time frame, obviously we've now officially invalidated this previous bearish divergence on the 2-hour Ethereum price chart now that we have confirmed a new higher high in the price. But technically speaking, we're still seeing higher highs while the RSI is still forming lower highs. So there's the possibility that a new bearish divergence could possibly form or confirm here in the short term. But I want to make this clear, at least for now, this bearish divergence is invalid. It is no longer playing playing out. It's already perfectly played out for a couple of days, which is usually what happens from bearish divergence just on the 2-hour time frame. And I also want to make it clear this possible new bearish divergence is not currently confirmed. So overall, we're simply still looking more bullish than bearish. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame, obviously, as I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, since much lower prices, we're still perfectly playing out this bullish divergence on the 3-day chart. So continue to expect this to play out, continue to expect a bullish relief for Solana. And if we're taking a look at the daily Solana price chart, just over the last couple of days or so, we've seen a perfect retest and actually bounce from this area of support sitting in between around 167 to 168. So continue to expect a lot of support around there. And the next point of resistance to watch out for, we're actually running into pretty much right now as of recording this video, which is sitting at around 179 to 180 based on this previous resistance here. But if we can break out above 180, in that situation, we have the golden pocket area of resistance sitting in between 191 to 200, and that will likely act as significant resistance for the price. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout beyond 200, in that situation, expect a continued bullish move up towards roughly 230. And clearly the price structure and the momentum for the price of Solana is simply bullish right now, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel once again, since basically we broke out above this previous high right here. That was the first significant change in price structure. So from that point onwards, I've been simply bullish on the trend for the price of Solana, and so continue to expect this bullish trend to continue moving forward. But of course, from time to time, we can see little short-term cool-offs during the bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, obviously, like I've said just recently here on the channel over the last half a week, for almost a week now, I've been saying, of course, we've now invalidated this bearish divergence. So of course, for months now, since almost the beginning of the year, I've been talking about this bearish divergence perfectly playing out. But now that we've actually confirmed a higher high in the 3-day XRP RSI, this is an invalidation telling us that the bearish divergence is now over, and we can finally expect more bullish momentum for the price of XRP. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, we've now officially confirmed a breakout with a daily candle close above this very important line of resistance, which was sitting at roughly around $2.46, give or take. And so now that we've actually confirmed this breakout, of course, this is very bullish for the price of XRP, and this is now technically a trend reversal signal telling us, of course, we're no longer now in this descending parallel channel or bearish trend, and we're now starting a new bullish trend. And the next point of resistance to watch out for the price of XRP is sitting at around $2.60, around $2.77, around $2.95, $3.15, and also $3.30 as major points of resistance to watch out for. And as for support, I'll now expect support at this previous line of resistance right here, flipping into new support at approximately 245 to 246. And so overall, the price of XRP is simply looking bullish right now. We're regaining bullish momentum, completing that previous bearish divergence right here that's already played out, and we're now breaking out above a very important line of resistance, which is all obviously pointing in the bullish direction, especially if Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market is bullish. That can also really help the price of XRP and a lot of the altcoins. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously right now Chainlink is playing out very similar price action to what I've been saying throughout this video. Obviously a short-term cool off and a rejection from this line of resistance, but we're now currently seeing a bit of a short-term bounce again, coming back up for another test of this resistance. And so obviously that short-term cool off helped to reset the RSI out of overbought territories back down towards slightly more neutral levels. And so obviously this is why we need to see short-term cool offs from time to time, basically little resets in the price action during a bullish trend, kind of like how during this previous bearish trend, we do see the occasional short-term bullish relief. But clearly the trend and the momentum is simply bullish for the price of Chainlink, as I've been saying throughout this video and for a while now on the channel. Basically, ever since we break out above this previous high right here, that's been bullish price structure for the price of Chainlink. And the next resistance to watch out for is sitting at around 1750 to 1760. But once we confirm a breakout above 1760, in that situation, expect a continued bullish move up towards around $20 as the next major price target and major point of resistance. And technically speaking, this bullish divergence on the daily Chainlink chart is still currently active because we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence, which means continue to expect a bullish relief as one of the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence, especially now that we're playing out bullish momentum and a bullish trend. Once again, we're simply looking bullish, but we can see the occasional little cool off during the bullish trend. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, like what I'm doing right now to easily profit in the crypto market, then make sure to check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto for yourself to make a lot of easy profits like what I'm doing right here, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.